It's been really exciting to see this reading explosion growth in him and go, okay, we're going to be okay. But that's coupled with knowing, okay, he's getting the services he needs at school, but he still has ADHD and he still has autism. This has been a big learning journey going through it. It took a little longer for me to realize that my oldest had ADHD. It should have been more obvious because he had a lot of the classic symptoms, but it took a while to notice it. And so with my youngest, we were on top of it just a little bit quicker because we knew what to look for. But where we were, like, I didn't have any other friends that had neurodivergent kids. I didn't really know what to do. We'd been in an alternative school option, not the public schools, and there's not always as much resources in those private programs as there is in a school district for kids who have neurodivergence. And so I didn't realize this, but when my youngest was really, really struggling, I've fortunately talked to a friend who did have a neurodivergent child. She said, hey, you know you're eligible for services through your home school district. You reach out to your home school district, whatever district you're in, and there's a program that's called Child Find. So even if your kid is not yet of school age, they're 3, 4, need preschool, but they're showing signs of issues, be it hearing loss, speech concerns, ADHD, behavioral issues, anything like that, you can go get a screening evaluation through your school district at no cost to you. And if they then qualify, then they start to get services. And so for my youngest, what that meant was we actually qualified to enroll him in the developmental pre-K program. So he could start getting some services earlier than waiting until he was school age. So the developmental pre-K, a bus actually came to our door, picked him up, took him to the developmental pre-K program. He was with 2 teachers and other kids in the class his same age. And then he came home on a bus at the end of the day. It was one of the small buses, and they dropped him right back off at our house. And it's all free. And I didn't know that that existed. I wish I'd known for my oldest, but we didn't, and that's fine. Even our pediatrician, she's wonderful, but I didn't feel like we got a lot of help there also because, you know, we were having behavioral concerns. She referred us to behavioral health to get a counselor for him. The counseling services from the local facility call me and say, hey, we can go ahead and add him to our list. It's an 18 to 24 month wait. Okay, he'll be 6. That doesn't help me. So we were getting him services through the school. We were getting him occupational therapy or OT services, doing great. My older, we had still had him in this private program until we kind of started to realize there were some bigger red flags for him. And one of them was we were into 2nd grade. We were well into 2nd grade, and he just was not reading at all. He was really good in math. He's really good in building, but we're still struggling. He was on some medication to help with the ADHD, but we just weren't seeing progress, and there started to be some bigger concerns, especially when I started seeing my kindergartner come home from public school able to do things that my oldest couldn't do. And so when we enrolled him into the public school, I will never forget walking in to meet his teacher. It was in October, so school year is well underway, but we're transferring him in. Go in to meet the teacher, and she's like, okay, this is where he'll sit. And I look at his desk, and I look at the desk next to him, and the child next to him had book 4 of Harry Potter, like halfway read, with a bookmark in it. We can barely read Bob books. Like, Bob saw a dog. And that's when we realized just how far behind he was in a lot of different areas. So get him transferred in, get him tested, and then he started getting some special services through school. So he gets to get in a pull-out reading program. We've just seen huge growth for him. We're seeing him catch up to the age-appropriate benchmarks that he needs to be at just with these extra services. It's been really exciting to see this reading explosion growth in him and go, okay, we're going to be okay. But that's coupled with knowing, okay, he's getting the services he needs at school, but he still has ADHD and he still has autism, and those are going to pose problems with his executive functioning. We actually have a wonderful in-home occupational therapist who comes and works with the boys in home to help them with things.
And that you said covered by insurance.
We did some family counseling therapy as well for a little while to help with parenting skills, to help navigate good ways to parent kids that are neurodivergent. That was covered under health insurance as well, because they have these diagnoses and it's something we need to help support them.
Got it.
My dad has ADHD, wasn't diagnosed until adulthood. And then as my two boys were starting to grow up and showing some signs, and then eventually did get diagnosed with ADHD as well, there kind of became this aha moment of,
connect
did it skip a generation? Or am I just missing this? And when I finally said to my friends and family, like, I think I might have ADHD, all of them kind of looked at me like, and that diagnosis brought me a lot of validation that, okay, my brain does work differently than other people's brains work. And especially in the sales industry, if you kind of look around at other people who land in sales, I think a lot of us have some ADHD. Your day is just very dynamic, always changing. No 2 days are the same. And I think a lot of us thrive on the dopamine hit that you get from a little bit of that chaos. It's been cool to kind of realize that aspect of myself is kind of what brought me to this point. As I was going through, so my boys have ADHD and they're a dual diagnosis also with autism as well. And going through that evaluation process with them for the autism as well made me realize, oh, I've also got a few of these quirks, and it was very eye-opening. And it's been funny to talk to my parents and my husband about realizations I'm having and them go, yep, we know. Glad you've caught up. But there's a lot of strengths that can come from these things. Well, I think there's a lot of stigma that goes around them when people hear it. And especially in females, they tend to be underdiagnosed. I think there's quite a renaissance happening and people finding out this about themselves and finding avenues to get diagnosed. But as a child, I definitely had signs, but I was also a very high achieving, straight A student. Like, I was an only child, very smart, I was very hard on myself, very much a perfectionist. And I always thought it was my parents putting those expectations on me, but it really wasn't. They were trying to, my mom was trying to like take me to a knitting class or make me a little more well-rounded. And I was just so focused on achieving. And that's very much our culture here in the US too, right? This kind of grind culture, achieve, okay, you've met your goal. What do you do now? Kind of push towards that next goal. And I think it's easy for us to lose sight of what we do when we achieve that goal. So for me, I think the pros for me have been knowing that I can kind of work like a machine and push really hard for that goal. But a con is I don't recognize when I've pushed so hard that I'm starting to burn out. And I've done that at jobs where I've just pushed so hard and my drive to be the master at that job that I burn myself out and don't want to do it anymore or just get really depressed about it. Having kids has changed my perspective on that a lot as well. Having kids kind of forces you to slow down in a way. You have to just sit a lot when you have a baby. And having to sit with that and learn that about myself. And then I have to be able to learn how to divide my hyper focus between not only my job, but my kids and my husband and my family and then also have friends. So
do you really think it's a balance thing or like how do you handle it?
I think that it's a balance in the sense that you can't do it all. So that idea of, oh, you can achieve work-life balance and everything will be even is a myth. I don't think you can. I think there's periods of time where you have to focus on work for a while and you do have to neglect things with family a little bit. There are certain elements that happen or certain phases in career where, okay, this is a push, this is a work push. And then there's other times where work's a little bit lighter, you pull back on that and you know your family needs you and you can focus on a family push for that. but it's knowing when to draw the line. So for example, this last summer, we did a new product launch for work. Product launches and sales are very intense. So you are very busy and your schedule looks very abnormal. But then as that kind of started to ease off, I was able to take a step back from work, put it back into its own perspective. And then there were some things going on with the kids that I really needed to be able to turn my focus to. And I'm fortunate to work with a great team of people. There's 3 of us on our team. We work so well together. And it's really nice to have that work relationship where you know, okay, hey guys, I got to take a step back for a little bit. I'll still be here. I'll still be working, but I'm not going to be putting in the big hour weeks for a little bit so that I can focus on some family things. And you start to just learn the give and take of it all. Anything with parenting, I'm sure you're aware, you feel like you get the hang of it and then everything changes.
Yeah.
That's how kids are, right? But we feel like we're in a pretty good place with them right now. And like we're getting them the resources that they need to be successful and seeing the progress that we want. But it's definitely been a journey and made some missteps along the way and just you don't know until you're in it that maybe that's not the right choice. But I think one of my biggest learnings through it is giving myself a lot of grace has been, it's hard. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a perfectionist. I want to make the decision and I want it to be the right decision and I want it to work out. And so
stick to the decision.
Yes. And so knowing that, especially with the kids that haven't always made the right choice, but I've course corrected and that's okay. And I'm lucky to have very supportive mom friends and family and husband and everything to remind me, yeah, you're going to make mistakes, but you're still a good mom. You know, you're still fighting for your kids.
Good enough.
You're good enough, mom. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you're on the right path. But that has become another passion of mine is talking with people who think they have a neurodivergent kid and saying, well, these are the places we went and this is how we got the diagnosis as we got. And these are the services we used. And I hope you can find help in that because we felt so blind going through it ourselves in the beginning.
Like, what do you think is successful for your kids?
If they can find something in life that they're passionate about, that they can do successfully and do it not living in my basement someday, I'll feel like I've done it.
So they can support themselves.
So that they can support themselves. I want them to be able to find that independence in their life.
And they have something they like.
Yes.
They're passionate about.
Yep. And that's
healthy.
Yeah, healthy, something that they're passionate about. I know people say, I want my children to be happy. And I'm like, that's a lot of pressure to put on them. But I want them to at least be financially independent and have that independence in adulthood because I know how hard my husband and I worked for that ourselves to get there and feel that and feel confident. And I want them to be able to achieve that however it looks for them. So now, right, like it's just kind of finding their interests and helping nurture them, which is what my parents did a lot for me as a child. It was helping me find things I was interested in and then finding ways to help nurture.
Yeah. How do your parents support you?
So I think I mentioned I'm an only child and I had a stay-at-home mom and she did a lot of in-home childcare when I was really young. So I had cousins that were around or other kids that she babysat for. So I wasn't alone. And she was really good at just kind of following my lead with things. I was the second grader with book 4 of Harry Potter. I was that one. She also didn't want me to become so fixated on my special interests that I wasn't broad. So she was great she took me to a knitting class once and did some rock climbing and I was in dance and did skiing.
Rock climbing,
indoor. Stuff to help me build my confidence because I wasn't really confident as a kid.
Well, what's your impression of your father?
My dad was a very hard worker and very motivated and he worked really hard for the family, but was also great because he was gone a lot working in out of town. And a lot of times it was just my mom and I while he was out of town working and just come home on the weekend. But when he was home and him and I were buddies. We went and did things together. Like my dad and I have always been really, really close. I think I get a lot of my hard work and drive from him, but from my mom, I get a lot more of my artsy and creative and I think more whimsical side. So I get a nice balance between the two.
Sweet.
I was just a public school kid and I left Alaska when I was 16 and went to northern Minnesota, which is where a lot of my extended family is from, including my parents' family. So it was a family decision. So my grandma was older. My grandpa had passed away. She had a lot of health concerns. And so living alone in her own home wasn't a really good option anymore. And my mom had just given up a lot of life to be there with her father during his end-of-life years. So she had left Alaska and been there for, I think it was about a year as he deteriorated and then eventually passed. And then she came back to Alaska and my grandma wasn't doing well. And so there was kind of this family discussion of what needs to happen. And it involved family back in Minnesota too. And I said, hey, you know, I've never lived close to family. And my dad was a few years still from retirement. And I know my mom wasn't really ready to move yet. And so I was like, I would not mind going. I could live with grandma. I could finish high school. And there was a great opportunity to take the college classes at the community college while you're in high school for free. That was a state program in Minnesota. My grandma and I had always had a tight bond, but I'd never lived close to her before. And so I got to spend 2 years living with her while I finished high school. And I will always treasure those memories. It was amazing.
I just feel so moved. Like, I think you are like, you being loved by your family and you are like giving back your love and like when they need it.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Oh, thank you. I did not process at the time what it was and what it meant for a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
A ton. And I think that's how I leap kind of confidently into my job decisions and everything I do. I just jump and go. My grandma and I had an absolute blast. I'm so grateful that I did it. She was 86 at the time. So 86 and 16, bit of an age gap. She was just shy of 102 when she passed away. After I finished high school and went to college, my mom moved in with her and took care of her. And then she eventually went into a care facility when she needed that help. But we were able to give her really good quality of life for those years. And that's a big thing.
What would you say to yourself when you were very unsure?
Oh, I love that. I think just keep going. Just keep going. Even though it doesn't feel like you know what the next step is going to be, it's going to show up. You will find the next step. And it's okay to be content with where you are, even if it doesn't feel like you're in the right place. You can still be content with that.
And do you still feel uncertain? Do you still feel uncertain about something now?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, self-doubt is my specialty. I still feel uncertain about whether or not I'm always making the right steps, be it the career moves or what I'm doing for my children. But I know that we've been okay so far, and we will continue to be okay. So even though I know it's uncertain, I think I've just learned to sit in that discomfort of uncertainty a little bit and know that the answer will show up eventually, even if it's not the right time.
Everything will be fine.
It'll be fine. Yeah. And I spent so much time worrying when I was younger and everything was fine.
We used to worry about future, but when we focus on the moment, it's better.
It is. Yeah. I know people will sometimes ask me if I have any regrets about how I did things. And I have to pretty confidently say no. Like, if you could go back and change how you did things.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
The decision that you make at that moment, that's the best one you make.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. And every decision I made kind of led me to the next step.
Yeah.
And all of those steps led me to now. And I love what I'm doing now. And I have a wonderful family and I have a great friend group. And I'm like, how can you say you would change any of that? Because anything you change would change what came next.
Yeah, makes sense. What would you say to your 20-year-old self?
you're going to make mistakes. But that's a good thing. And that's something I'm still working on today, is being okay with making mistakes. But you're going to make them no matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
So make the mistakes, learn from them, and keep going.
There is a book called The Right Kind of Wrong. But there are mistakes that you have to make it to learn.
Yes. And I hate to make mistakes. I'm so not forgiving of myself for making mistakes. And that's a work in progress. They are.
I have to say, I changed a lot of majors too.
You did? Oh gosh. How many did you go through?
5.
Yeah. I mean, we're young.